What's going on, family? It's your main man, 100 Grand, Kim Blanks Harrell, and we are having a live webinar coming up on Saturday, May 14th, from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the topic this month is dividend stocks. Yeah, that's right. We're talking all about dividend stocks, those stocks that not only give you your cake, but some of that icing too. So make sure you tap in to dividend stocks presented by Stock Market 101, part of the Bullish Institute's Financial Literacy Workshop Series.
We here on the Entrepreneur Kickback with the good brother Christopher Scott, a serial investor, trader. That's me describing you. He already got my wheels turning, y'all. You'll learn this as the interview progresses. Every time I have an interview with someone, it's always something so enlightening. I'm like, holy shit. And we was just talking on the back end, and he was already going. He just started. And it was like, whoa, okay, we need to start talking about this. But first, can you give the can you get an audience an introduction of yourself and your skill set?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Christopher Scott. I am the co-founder of a company called StockHouse University that, like I said, I co-founded with a couple of my partners, Elaine Adams and Vanessa Hudgens. It kind of started off just, us talking about stocks as friends and really not necessarily learning the market, because I already had like 7 years of experience in the crypto space, and then like 4 or 5 years of just long-term investing, and like 2 or 3 years of a 401k already built up. So that's how I got started. But then we started, and this Clubhouse thing came out, and we started talking on Clubhouse. And next thing we know, people were like, man, what these guys are talking about, this is the kind of information that people need to know. And so they were like, how can we get more access to you? So we ended up founding StockHouse University, which is really just a Discord, but it's an educational platform where we provide the education that we think people need to know. And the thing is, where we got the idea from is like, hey, we're people that look at the market all the time. And we got to realize that most of the average investors are working, people. And they don't have the kind of time that we have on our hands to be as attentive to this thing. So I found a niche in being able to pay attention to it all the time and provide information on a fundamental level that I think people will find advantageous in their own investing journey. And it kind of took off from there. So I'm glad to be here. I've actually worked my way up, not, on the platforms like the pre-market movers. I actually ended up executive producing and co-hosting a show, the first Black-owned show on the news platform of Benzinga. It's an online stock news platform. It's kind of one of my favorite accomplishments to this point. I've had the chance to work with some of the biggest minds in the game right now. Ian Dunlap. Shout out to the master investor, Terry Ijeoma. We'll see, man. I'm working on a lot of things. I won't mention any more names just because you don't want to ruin anything, but we got a lot of things coming up on the horizon. I'm just happy to be here, to chop it up with you. And it's been a long time just talking to you over pre-market movers. And I'm like, yeah, man, I definitely got to sit down with this guy. So I'm happy to be here, and thanks for bringing me on.
Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming. Like he said, the Pre-Market Movers is a group on Clubhouse. I come on religiously every, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday. Mm-hmm. And this is how I do my due diligence in the market. However, I'm still a novice at this. And Chris, Mr. Scott is one of the moderators. And oh my God. Oh my God, it's so much we don't know or I don't understand, and we should know. Speaking as a black man, some things maybe we should pay attention to. I'm not excluding anyone who's listening, but I'm just saying as a black man, because in our culture, we don't pay attention to these things as every other culture does. So I asked Mr. Scott to come on and enlighten us on how can we get started and what should we look for and what we need to pay attention to, especially what's going on right now, because Putin has invaded Ukraine. Don't give me the ins and outs of the details, but however, when there's war, there's a shift in the market. So so I wanted to start with you, Mr. Scott, like for those who say, because there right now, from my experience and who I talk to, it's a lot of people who's interested in entering into the stock market. Mm-hmm. However, people can't even explain people don't even know what a stock is or how to even come about it. So what will be your step one for these people who say, hey, I want to get into the stock market? What's some healthy habits I should start?
All right. So for me, before I even downloaded a platform, I would have to have a mental conversation with myself about what's my plan going into the stock market. A lot of people go into the stock market with just crazy dreams, right? Because you see, I know in this last year, there's been all kinds of maybe options traders, this and that and kind of stuff popping out just because the market has been kind of crazy ever since we've been sitting at home since COVID. So it's going into the third year. But what a lot of people fail to do is really write themselves a plan. Now, I want to get in the market to do what? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to start generating that generational wealth? Is this something that, hey, I want to eventually turn this into my life and I want to learn how to generate income on a daily basis? Or is it, hey, I just want to buy something, put it up for my kids, treat it like it's not even mine. I'm 10, 20 years down the road. Whatever your plan is, stick to that plan and be aware of how you absorb information. If it's a podcast, get yourself some podcasts, right? If it's some books, buy yourself a book. Right, there's all kind of books. I mean, I'm sure you've heard people mention the world is changing by Ray Dalio this year.
Yeah,
That book he went crazy. But like trading in the zone, like whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And maybe reading isn't your thing. Maybe you got to watch something. Get on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? YouTube University been teaching me all kind of stuff. And I'm not ashamed to say anything like that because we have the internet, right? We have investors that started, 40, 50, 60 years ago that had nothing like the internet to help them out at all. It was writing this stuff on a piece of paper and making a phone call and hoping that the transaction got in at the price that they wanted it to do. Between time, I can pick up my phone, hit 2 clicks of a button and be invested. So start with what you want to do. After that, after you figure out what you want to do, you want to read up on your platforms because some of your platforms are advantageous to other types of investors, right? You've got your big banks, you got Fidelity, you got Wells Fargo, a company called Interactive Brokers, E-Trade. Those companies, right, they have long-term investor type platforms, and you can tell because it's not really built to really help on a daily basis, where some of the newer platforms, you got Robinhood coming into the mix, you got Webull coming into the mix, that have kind of gamified what we see or what stock investing or trading is. So the way that I like to explain it is that when you're equipping yourself for battle, because we know the market is a battle on a daily basis, right? These platforms are actually part of your weaponry. It's part of your tool set. Right now, you just got to learn how to fight, right? You might be someone that want to be up close in the fight, put the boxing gloves on, right? Or you might want to sit back and be an archer and just chill out and wait for the right time and then just snipe. Or you might want to, get in and get out. You might want to bob and weave. You might be a sword and shield type person. Let me go in there and attack and then put my shield up so I can make sure I don't get beat up. Those are what these platforms do. You got people that trade between the hours of like 4 a.m. and 9 a.m. before the market opens, because those are the hours that they have available as working people. At 9 o'clock, they on the clock. So, any Webull, which allows you to trade from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., will be one of those platforms that would help you do what you need to do, right? Or if you want to trade after hours, you need one of them platforms that's going to let you trade from 4 p.m. when the market closes until 8 p.m. when the entire market closes, right? Or maybe that's not even your style. Maybe you want to trade futures. There's so many different places that we want to go. The first thing I'm going to say is absorb as much education as possible. Now, that doesn't mean don't start, right? Like, you can always start by buying stocks like they aren't yours. Like, if anybody needs a sure-proof way to just get started in the stock market, pick up a book, buy yourself a share of Apple every time it goes red. You don't have to buy a whole share. Just put $5 in Apple when it's green, $10 in Apple when it's red. Just start like that. That's how you start to accumulate shares, right? While you're learning the information. And it's like, you'll never create a taxable event as long as you don't sell. So as long as I'm buying things with the intention of never selling, doesn't matter what I do as long as I'm learning the information. I'll learn it as long as I go. Not to mention, if I'm buying Apple with $5 every time it's green, I'm starting to train my mind to know what that price action looks like. So Apple might be at 140, 150. I'm like, ooh, that's good. I'm going to put $10 on it today. But then Apple might be 160, 170, 180. And it's like, nah, that's kind of high. We'll put $5 on it today. But at the same time, you've learned that range. Like, hey, when Apple's at 140, 150, I need to buy it. When Apple's 170, 180, I need to sell it. But at the same time, you're just training your mindset because you haven't sold anything. So just getting yourself involved, looking at anything on a daily basis, starting with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, is only going to help you while you absorb the information. So that's really how you get started. Just absorb as much as possible, figure out which platform works for you along the process. I would recommend maybe buying, there's all kind of $25, $30, $40 courses out here. Maybe you don't want to go to the $300, $400, $500 level, because I know that's out here too. But like a book or basic course will get you so much further than jumping into the market with money listening to somebody else. If I just go in there with what I know Apple. I got an iPhone. I'm going to buy an iPhone for the next 10 years so I can just buy Apple stock for the next 10 years. Don't care. Meantime, between time, I'm absorbing as much as information as possible. Now I've learned price action at Apple, and I might be one of them person that can just make my money on a daily basis trading Apple on a $2 or $3 move on a daily basis. I don't have to do nothing else. Just trade Apple. You literally can make your money like that.
Wow. It's one stock.
One stock. One stock. If it moves $1, you will find that on the options contract volatility, you can make sometimes 2, 3, 4, 500% on an average investment on a $1 to $2 move, depending on how much of a percentage it is, which is really insane to think about, because a lot of people are like, man, I see what's going on. You bought a share, you bought some stock at $6 and sold it at $7. Okay, you made $1 per share on my $50 didn't do nothing on that. No, man, I put $100 in on a $2 move and it turned into $500. And then I got out and I could chill out for a couple of days. That's just how it gets started. So having that information, that knowledge is what's going to let you know that, hey, different possibilities are out here, but you got to have a plan.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. And you simplify it. You can learn. You can earn while you learn.
Correct.
As long as you study. All right.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. You tapped in on the books. What's some books you'll recommend?
First things first, what I need people to know is once you've read one book, you've read all the books, right? So once you know how to trade, you know how to trade, right? There's just different skill sets, different niches, different ways that people make their own money. And, all it is just price action and volume. It's just, hey, is it going up? Is it going down? And how am I going to use that knowledge to benefit me? I might be trading 3 or 4 different types of ways, though. So it's like one person might be trading futures, one person might be trading options, one person might be trading equity. Everybody has different price targets. You know what I'm saying? There's option strategies, there's strangles. So basically, get you 1 to 2 books, figure out which strategy works for you, and stick with that author. Like I said, if you start with trading in the zone, you've done 80% of the groundwork.
Okay.
80% of the groundwork. Everything else is just little bells and whistles that'll teach you about everybody's individual style. Coming from somebody who's read 15 books.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, and it's just like, all right, y'all keep telling me the same thing over and over again, and you reading the whole book, and you find out of everything that you got highlighted, it's only 4 or 5 pages of actual information that differs, right? Because the game is the game. The stock market don't change. The rules might differentiate every now and again, but for the most part, it either goes up or it goes down. That's it. Buy low, sell high. That is as simple as I can put it. Support, resistance.
Okay. Can you explain what support and resistance is?
Sure. So support and resistance is basically what people see on a chart, right? But they can't really understand what it is, right? When you see these line charts start making these patterns, right? Now, let's say you see a stock chart and it's moving up. And on the upside, it keeps getting to like a peak. So let's say that peak is like, let's just stick with Apple since we're rocking with Apple for a little bit. And let's just say Apple hits 170, right? And Apple cannot go above 170, right? So it goes up, hits 170, can't break 170, goes back down to like 164. Then it makes another attempt, goes back up, hits like 169.56, goes back down to like 163.64, something like that. Then it'll try to make one more run at it, goes back up, touches 170, won't get past it, and it'll come back down. That is what we call resistance, right? Resistance is kind of something that you're trying to get past, but you can't go, right?
Okay.
It's like it's a hard rejection. It's a you shall not pass. That's what I think about it, the way I think about it, right? But support is when you're gathering the troops. This is, hey, we're going to hold the line right here. This is my support. So at the same time, where you have you shall not pass on the upside, when you're gathering arms and you're holding support and you're holding the line at the bottom, it's the same thing. So it's like, you see how when I said it went back up past 170, it wouldn't go below 163. So not going below 163 would be your support. So it's just, now, will it do it on different time frames? People are like, well, man, it didn't do that for 1 week, but then the next week it did. Well, that was the support or the resistance for the week. And you'll learn that the more that you go.
Okay. And you also said you focus on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq every day.
Every day. If you want to get started in the stock market, just know that the S&P is 500 is the top 500 companies in the market. Now the Nasdaq 100 is the top 100 companies, but they're differentiated amongst like health, technology. There's a bunch of different stocks in there where the S&P 500 is primarily tech. Now, the NASDAQ is primarily tech too, but there's just more like health stocks. You got Google, you got Johnson & Johnson, you got some, like I said, it's pretty much for the most part tech loaded, but there's just you'd have to pay attention to it to see it. I would say if anybody wants to really learn, you want to know the top 10 companies in each, but it really pays you to know a lot about those two things.
Okay, because it sounds like if you pay attention to those two categories, or we like to call them indexes, you can get a feel for what the market is doing globally.
Correct.
Okay.
So because what we call weight, and weight just means, well, let's translate it from our culture, folks. If your name holds weight in the streets, people are following your wave, right? Okay, so same thing. If you hold weight in the S&P, the S&P holds is 5%. Tesla, right? There's 500 different companies in the S&P 500, but 5% of all of it is just Tesla. That's a lot of money, which means basically Tesla on any given day moving up by $100, which is what it did the other day, which is crazy because that was national history. I've never seen Tesla go down from like 680 to 800 in a day. Like, that's movement. Like I said, some stocks move $1 a day. $100 on the downside and the upside, it don't happen like that. So it's crazy. But if you watch these heavily weighted companies, most of the other stocks will follow their wave. And to break it down even further, stick with Tesla. You're watching Tesla, right? So if you're following Tesla and the companies that maybe should follow Tesla, let's say Lucid or Fisker, which are other EV makers. If Tesla is up 9 times out of 10, unless there's something that says, hey, something's wrong with these companies for the day, those companies will be up too. So we like to call sympathy.
Okay. So it's like you hear the saying, sometimes when you start a business, you know your business is good when you have competition.
Exactly.
Dang.
Exactly.
So really and truly, like you said, you can not only do Tesla like that, but maybe you can pay attention to another sector. So if you have a company, I can't name one off the top.
I got you.
Okay, go ahead.
I got you. Let's say oil. Give me the biggest gas station that you know.
Marathon
gas station. Okay. Marathon is like one of the third biggest ones, right? So if Marathon is up, do you think maybe let's say we're going to war right now. Marathon is up. We see gas prices are high. Do you think that maybe ExxonMobil might be up too?
Yeah. It's in demand.
That's exactly what it is. Right? It's called sympathy. It is the direction of the sector, which is why if you watch the S&P 500, there's 500 different of the top companies in the market. And if I know that my favorite company, which is a mega tech, right, in its sector, then everything up under it should probably be following suit. It literally could be that easy.
Just watch that. Okay.
Just watch that.
Okay.
Just watch that. And if you watch that, you know what I'm saying, and you happen to throw in a little news and you know why it's moving, man, you're really dangerous at that point.
Okay. Where do you follow your news? You listen to Wall Street?
Man, news is one of those things that's so hard to follow that, how do I put this? You have to be really weary of what time frame you're on when you're absorbing information and where you're absorbing information from. So while this is the easiest task to actually make profit from, right, it is actually also one of the hardest tasks to make profit from, because you have to, one, know what's real and fake news, how does it benefit or detriment a situation and or company, and did I get in at the right time, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if you're day trading and not long-term investing, or, you know, making a swing move, buying it on the downside, selling it on the up, and then rinse and repeat, start over, it depends on when you get in, right? Because 9 times out of 10, if I'm day trading, if it hits the news, by the time it hits the news and I have the time to go look at the stock and figure out in which direction the stock has moved, I'm too late. Now, on a long-term thing, let's say Tesla's dropping a new vehicle in October 2023. And I say, you know what? I like Tesla. They've been making money. As soon as Tesla goes red, I'm going to start either, like I said, buying 10 in the red, 5 in the green, if that's what level I'm on, or, buying a share or whatever. When it's red, I'm going to go ahead and take a position as long as I know I'm going to look at it over the past year and say, hey, what's a high price? What price has it been to over the past 52 weeks? What low price has it been over the past 52 weeks? Okay, so 900 is the high, 700 or 650 is the low. If I see anything under $740, I'm going to go ahead and take it, and I'm going to just ride this wave all the way till October of next year. And you have a bit more of a plan, right? So it's like it can go either way. And then the other thing is you got to follow that news along the way, because what happens if that car's battery doesn't end up working out, right? I bought it on the fact that this car is going to get released on this day. If it gets delayed or if anything happens, that means the fundamental characteristics of my thesis are changing. So I got in on a fundamental thesis of, hey, this car is going to release here. So if anything bad happens along the way, maybe I need to adjust my theory. And you got to kind of keep following, which is why it's a tedious task, although it's the easiest way to make money. If I know what's going on, I know how to make money. But I also have to know what's going on, when it's going on, and why it's going on. So for me, my sources, I like MarketWatch. I like Benzinga, which was one of the news platforms that I was a part of. But you have to be careful about that because there are freelance people and not everything is always verified, but there is a lot of great information on there. There is, if you're a Twitter person, there is an account on Twitter that basically gives people an unfair advantage, and he's built up a lot of following like that. What he did was he played for what they use on Wall Street. It's called a Bloomberg terminal. You ever heard of that?
No.
So a Bloomberg terminal is basically what you see at the bankers or anybody sitting at the New York Stock Exchange, and they're sitting at these screens and they got all these little different windows. It's not necessarily a broker, but it's just a page of information, and it just gives it to you live as it comes out, sometimes 15, 20 minutes early. If you're anybody who trades with a big wig on a bank with a major publication, you're on a Bloomberg terminal. These Bloomberg terminals are $40,000 a year.
A year?
A year.
Okay.
A year. So there is a platform. There is a Twitter follower. There's the Twitter user that purchased a Bloomberg terminal, has access to that information, and literally all he does is wait for this stuff to drop on the Bloomberg terminal. He'll take the hottest 5 or 6 topics, and he'll make sure as soon as it comes to him that it hits his timeline. He don't do nothing but hit copy and paste straight from the Bloomberg terminal. That's his entire portfolio. He's got 700,000 followers because who has $40,000 a year? Nobody. Well, not very many people that aren't institutional players, right? Not retail investors, not us. That's, most of my people who's like, hey, man, where can I get a brokerage? They're not dropping $40,000 a year and they ain't even bought $40,000 worth of stock yet. I'm not saying they don't have it. It's just, is that the right way for my money right now? If you have the tools and the resources, yes. Out the gate, probably not. So get as much as the actual free information as you want to. Again, that guy's name is, he goes by Walter Bloomberg. His profile is Data1, but it's DEITAONE on Twitter.
Hold on, one more time. What's that? What's his Twitter handle?
Data1, but it's spelled like DEITA, like when you think of that type of data, you would think like deity, right?
Okay.
DEITA1 ONE.
Okay. Okay. I wrote it down. I see how. Okay. Deity.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So it's, like I said, super valuable resource. If you have a Twitter space and you're looking to like day trade, I would say don't only follow him, but turn on those notifications, because like I said, that's not necessarily that's 40,000, almost 40. It's not the same as $40,000 because you don't get the information on all stocks, but like at least the top 10 categories for the week or the month or the year or the things that people are paying attention to. He's dropping that information for free.
That's a nugget, y'all. That's a nugget. That's a nugget. That's a nugget. I hope everybody got their pens ready or they pause the video if you're in the car. You know, it's all good. Do what you got to do. You know, come back. But use this as a resource.
$40,000 a game right there.
Right. Free. All right. Okay. Now, Now you gave us some basics on how to get in. However, I wanted you to touch on how world events affect the stock market. You know, especially discussing what's going on with war, because the market changes when global events happen, such as war. You explained a few more, but we sticking on Putin because there's expenses to war. And these are things you need to pay attention to. You know, if you go to war, and this is just what I know, you're going to need oil, you're going to need bullets, you're going to need metal, you're going to need water, you're going to need all types of things. You're going to need food, you're going to need everything. You're going to need medics. You know, there is everything across the board. And now this is the first time I've been paying attention to the market where there's a war happening, but you've been in the game for a while. So you have some experience on how this could affect the market and what we should be paying attention to in the market based off that. If we're trying to, you know, if we're trying to make some money or build something, you know, I don't want to, you know, I know some people may feel funny because it's war and they say, oh, well, should I be trying to make money while people are literally dying? So I wanted your take on that, because the stock market it's a tool you can use to make money, but I'm also learning that it's also unfair, and some of it can be very dark, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up. And the craziest thing is, money is never clean. The biggest money in the world is dirty. It's built on oil. It's built on greed. It's built on hatred. Where money comes from. It's the evilest thing in the world, right? And so what you have to understand is what money really is, right? Because to some people, money is king, right? Money is everything. If you got the money, you can do whatever you want to do, right? Fact. But let me tell you what it is. It is a tool to be used by those who like to stay in control. And you can only control so much based on how much money you have. You know what I'm saying? If you sitting on, if you getting, you know, I'm gonna just put it like this: if you sitting on $70,000, $80,000 a year, at this point, because of inflation, you probably have control over your current circumstances, and that's it, right? These people with bigger money, they have control over the work schedule. They have control over where oil goes to. They have control over how much electricity you can use. They have control over when the Wi-Fi is on, when the Wi-Fi is off. You know, they have control over the bigger buttons that control life and death. That's what money is. It's a tool. So you have to figure out where you fit in with the tool and how you're going to use it to your benefit. That being said, it's never fair. And as soon as you expect the money game to be fair, you playing yourself. So once you can get over that mental here of thinking that the game is fair, then you're ready to play. As soon as you think it's fair, get out. Get out, change your mindset, read some books, look at some charts, do something constructive, but like it's never going to be fair. So you got to take what you can take, because that's what it is. It's a give and take. It's a dog eat dog world. And if you don't want your money, somebody else does. Now, that being said, let's talk about the world events. World events have the potential to change everything, right? When you look at a chart on the stock market, there's two things that pretty much makes up what the actual stock is, or what that price action does, right? Those two things are technicals and fundamentals. Now, technicals are, hey, this chart, technically speaking, is, I guess, oversold or overbought, just depending on where it is on the chart. Is it kind of high? Is it kind of low? How many people are buying it? What level are they buying it at? What price are they buying it at? Things like that. Those are technicals. For me, fundamentals are king. For me. Now, I say that because you can be right on the fundamentals, and it doesn't change until the fundamentals change. You can be wrong. I mean, you can be right on the technicals, and that only matters until something changes it, right? I mean, and when I say it like that, it's like this. Technicals matter until they don't, because something with a fundamental catalyst can come in and change it. For instance, it's like if this is overbought, technically it could be a good time to sell, right? But a catalyst comes in and just says, hey, this company just did a $10 million buyback. So this company is investing $10 million into their own company to buy shares, right? And so everything could be saying this is about to go down. They just missed earnings back to back. They haven't made money in 3 months, but they're taking $10 million out of their own cash that they have available to buy their own stock. And so that fundamental can literally change the fact that it should be going down and make it go up. Vice versa. Let's say a stock should be going up, right? We got every reason. Let's go with one of these bigger companies. Let's go with AMD. They make semiconductors. If you don't know what a semiconductor is, a semiconductor is basically pretty much the communication piece between the world that we know now and the visual, right? How digital the world is, like a computer screen, a laptop screen, cell phones, iPads, you name it. They have a computer chip in them. Those chips are called semiconductors. It is one of the most valuable assets to the world right now. And everything in the world says they should be going up right now, right? Mm-hmm. Until a war happens. And now life and death is on the line. And now assets that even matter to the world, when life and death are happening, in a grand scheme of things, don't really matter, right? And so when you go to war, it creates fear in every market, because when you're about to die, how much money matters? None of it, unless you have the money to save your life. If you have terminal cancer and you have $45 million and the surgery $75 million, then that $45 million does you no good, because you're about to pass away. Might as well give it to your family, right? But at the same time, vice versa works too. So you got to control what you control and control what you can't control. I mean, and don't worry about what you can't control. Control the controllables. Don't worry about what you can't control. Try to be more reactive to that. So the biggest catalyst right now, of course, like I said, life and death is Russia and Ukraine. What happened literally was magnificent, because it's history. We've never seen it before. And anybody saying that we have seen it before, I need you to urge us to like just sit back for a second and kind of really understand. Because have we seen war? Yes. Have we seen war amidst another war at the end of a 3-year pandemic with inflation rates as high as they are? Absolutely not. That's too many catalysts. It's either one thing or it's something else. But we getting hit by 4 or 5 different things at once right now. And what is that doing? It's creating opportunity. Now, fear, we've had fear before, right? We felt like life and death was the most valuable thing in this world. And we've seen that type of fear, what it does to the market. Let's talk morality. This war right here, people are dying, right? I am actually a little bit on the more, it's time for me to benefit side, right? I'm going to tell you why. As a person of my complexion, right, as a black man in this world, there have been countless wars fought on the backs of my folks to where other people have benefited, except for my folks who bled, right? Now let's go back a year and a half. Let's go back 16 months ago when one George Floyd got his neck nailed on until he passed away. The market had a reaction to that. We had war stocks going off. People were in the streets. Buildings were burning, right? Mm-hmm. Stock market tanking. It wasn't crashing like a full correction like when COVID hit, but it fell like 3% a day, right? I could not put a single dollar of my money into that opportunity. I'm not getting ready to benefit off like the money that I wanted to put. If I would have made money off of it, I would have donated to George Floyd's family funeral, something like that. I couldn't have just made money off of that, right? But because of this war, this greed thing that has been a cancer, been the most toxic, has been one of the most toxic events, let's just put it like that, one of the most toxic events of all time, which is greed, right? I'm absolutely down to make my money off of that because they've done it to us. They do it to us all the time. They get away for it. They literally fight over oil. Your life does not matter to these people if they can't have the gas that's sitting under your feet. That's what it comes down to. And guess who's willing to make money on that and say, screw y'all, I'm going to make some money on it. Like, am I excited that people are passing away? No. But guess what? People are dying every day. And you got to kind of pick which side of the fight you're going to sit on. And me, this time around, it's kind of like reparations, you know? When you see the market crash like this and my people ain't got nothing to do with it, all I see is opportunity. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I wanted to put my money on. I couldn't wait, right? Let's talk about another asset class that just doesn't sit too well with me. You ever heard of, as an investor, I know we're talking about the stock market right now, but another investment piece is this crypto NFT space.
Yeah, let's touch on that.
All right. So let's talk morals, right? These pieces of art, these JPEGs, are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them millions. I think I saw one sell for like $2.8 million, maybe to like Paris Hilton. Bored Ape Yacht Club. One of the dopest pieces in the game, right? If you got a Bored Ape Yacht Club, you basically, at this point, are considered a millionaire if you have this picture on the internet. Now, for me, I'll never own one. Never. Not once. I can't put my money into it. I wouldn't take one for free. Let me tell you why. Mm-hmm. I'm fundamentally against having exclusive ownership of apes. It does not sit well with my spirit. I will not be the person that says, hey, man, I got 70 apes out here on the yard for sale. What? No, I won't be that person. Everybody else, like, I'm not hating, go have a ball, but like, it don't sit well with me, and I don't think it should sit well with everybody. But if it does, if you in here making your money, get your money. Never gonna hate. But like, it's distasteful. It don't sit right in my mouth. It upsets my ancestral. Like, they get the tingling, like, that ain't for you. There's all kind of money out here. You ain't got to go get none of that. All money ain't good money, but all money, like I said, all money's dirty. There is no, like, the concept of clean money is the working class, and we know that ain't no money. Everything else, somebody did something to get it. Somebody knows somebody. And it's like, whether that person's money is clean, somewhere in that ladder, somebody had to die, something was taken from somebody, somebody worked their entire life to be able to put food on the table, but 15 times their return is going into this company. You know what I'm saying? Somebody died at that work desk. You know, that's what money is. You know what I'm saying? The only honest living is in work. Everything else is dirty somewhere. Even in them donations. I don't even want to talk about that because we can get into politics and all kind of stuff and who's hiding what in donations. I don't.
Actually, I got something I want after this recording. I got something to run across you because when you say that money is dirty, I'm in my head like for my Christians out here that church piano keyboard is playing. Preach, Lord. Preach.
Exactly.
The church, the kickback church. He is telling you a true gospel here.
Mm-hmm.
But money is dirty. I mean, it's very, very dirty. It's just that the average person is out of touch of it because we're just worried about, ourselves and our family and our own salvations. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's not your fault. However, if you feel as though you're doing something wrong by investing in these companies or whatever you do, because what they do wrong, don't feel that way. You want to take advantage of your situation, and that's just it. Take care of what you can control, like you said. Oh my goodness!
Exactly. There are over 1,100 different stocks to choose from in the stock market. If you feel like you playing around in the dirty sector or you don't want to benefit, there's something else. There is absolutely something else. Like I said, it's just like, hey, I don't want to buy oil right now because people are dying. Well, oil's up over $100, and it's been running since '63 at August last year. Oil's crazy right now, right? But like at the same time, I get it. You don't want to pay for people dying. Go buy copper. Go buy steel. Go buy corn. Copper is the biggest metal that's used in these semiconductors, which we know over the next 10 years we're going to have a metal infrastructure of electric vehicles and electric charging gas stations, and all of our cars are going to have computers on them. Just go buy something that makes more sense. You know what I'm saying? But if opportunity is what you're looking for, you're going to have to play dirty ball sometimes. So you got to figure out which one is morally right for you, because money is not it's not a clean game. It never will be.
Okay. So, now hold on. You said, you can buy copper, steel, oil, like you could just buy, those are commodities. So you could just buy that straight too?
You can buy that on the stock market.
Huh.
You can literally buy a share of steel on the stock market. The ticker is X. It's called United States Steel.
X. Damn. Okay.
X. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you why it's going almost double in price over the next couple of years. China, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to pay attention to all these world events. China, if you did not know, accounts for 15.1 of the cents trade. America accounts for 8.1. China almost doubles the trade over the United States, accounts for double by themselves. Okay. They're also the number one manufacturer of steel in the world. Right? Now, what happens when China goes and invades Taiwan for the same reason that Russia goes and invades Ukraine? I'm bigger, I'm badder, you have something I want, I'm ready to take it. At this point, nobody's giving me a reason not to take it. And y'all won't give me what I want. And I'm trying to pay for it. So I'm going to take it. That's what wars do. That's what greed is. And you know what's in Taiwan? A company called TSM. Taiwan Semiconductors. They are the biggest semiconductor company in the world. And they're in on the sanctions of Russia.
Oh my God.
So you got China, the number one steel producer, not to mention anything that's like 99% of Apple products are produced in China. What happens if China goes to war?
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That means the number one source of steel in the world cut off, just like that. That means all the Apple products that may come out for the rest of the year, if sanctions get hit, cut off, just like that. How many products are manufactured from the United States in China right now?
Almost all of them.
There you go. That's how important China is right now. People are worried about Russia. Russia's not even like in the front of my mind. That's what everybody's talking about. In the back of my mind, I'm like, bro, if China makes a move, the every industry in the world stands to lose 20 to 30%. So 20 to 30%. It's that serious. Why? Because the U.S. and China account for 23.1% of the world's trade. Like I said, China's the number one steel producer in the world. Go look at steel. Go look at Timken Steel, TMST. One I called out, and I called out X. I called that out last week on Monday and said, hey, if China jumps in here, it's going to be crazy. TMST went from like $13.97 to $18 in a week. Steel went from like $23 to $27 in a week. On the options chain, that play went 3,000% in a week.
Shit. In a week.
In a week.
Whoa.
It's like, put it like this. That stock was at the ex-US steel, the share of steel that I was saying that you can go buy for $23. It was at $27, right? Those prices might move $2 an entire year. 10% in a week, something's wrong. It moved $4 in a week, something that doesn't move out of a $2 range in years. It doesn't do it. See what I'm saying? That is the magnitude of fundamental catalyst of economic events. That's why you have to be paying attention to it. Because literally, I already know, China goes to war, I'm short TSM. They are the number one most valuable resource to the entire world to this day right now. If computers are going to exist, TSM has to be here.
Okay, so
if you go to war and China bombs TSM, Apple, let me look at Apple. Apple, like I said, it's probably sitting somewhere between 160, 170. It can go to 110.
Whoa. Whoa, hold on. My wheels ain't turned this much since episode 6. Hold on. I gotta take a breath here. Hold on. Cause, okay, that's something that affects all of us.
Right, because if the semiconductors aren't here, that means the iPads are cut off. That means the iPhones are cut off. Not to mention the routes that we normally take into China to get our iPhones and our iPads have to be rerouted probably 2 or 3 different directions to even get to the United States. So not only are we cut off from the main provider, but in order to get to the provider that we have to go to another route, which costs more oil, which is already at all-time highs, which means that iPhone is now worth an extra 10% to 15%. That $1,400 iPhone is now worth $2,000 on top. Just like that, if China attacks. And then guess what? Nobody buys them.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying an iPhone at $2,000, but guess what? It's going to be still that value, and guess what? That means Apple's revenues does what? Goes down just like that. Not to mention their expenses go up for transporting all that product that they used to transport from China. It might get so bad that they say we can't even produce in China no more. We got to look somewhere else.
So war, man, this makes me think
crazy.
It makes me think of risk, man.
Because you have so many different assets that you have to be paying attention to. Think about it. Putin invaded Ukraine and went straight for Chernobyl. He took all the airports out first and then went straight for Chernobyl. Why do you need nuclear power? Nobody knows, but nobody likes it. Nobody knows what Putin is doing with that much nuclear power. But it's like, what assets does the country have that people could benefit from? That's the entire thing. That's why war is here. If you have control over TSM, you control the future of technology for about 4 or 5 different countries. That's the reality.
So, just based off our discussion, it sounds like there's no reason for not it's no reason for China not to go.
Not at this point. At this point, not really. And everybody was like, well, I'm gonna be. Let me just say, I was on the train. When is the last time I said, hey man, I'm gonna hit you in your face at 2:00 tomorrow? And somebody ever did it. Everybody's like, man, they ain't gonna do that. Ain't nobody that's gonna hit you in the face can really tell you exactly what time they're gonna hit you in the face. Right? But at the same time, those were the news reports, and they weren't by Ukraine officials. That was the United States doing what the United States does best. And guess what we do best as the United States? We hold our phones up, turn the flash on, and yell, "World Star." That's what they're doing right now. So it was like everybody was taking it as a joke. But Putin's like, nah, I won't share Noble. I get this much nuclear power, the United States don't have to come see me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not no game.
See, and this is why I had you on, because a lot of times, I do a lot of, I'm on a lot of social media. I'm always looking for guests to talk to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are making jokes about what's happening. And, I'm not going to stop no one if you're trying to be funny creatively. However, you need to pay attention, because the effects on war changes the world. And exactly. It's a trickle-down effect. And it will affect us in some way. Mm-hmm. Even if our country doesn't shoot one round, it still affects us. Like you said, if Putin, he takes over there and China takes over Taiwan, they doing that. They gonna come back to us and say, we got this here. They have leverage over us in some way.
Exactly. And not only did they do that, but they would have done that after we cut billions off from them. Those sanctions turned 49 billionaires in Russia and made them worthless.
Mm.
That's what those sanctions did. It cut off the banks. It cut off the supply to the world trade. So now you're going after this asset that you want. I'm going to just put it like this. Let's break it down in the layman's terms. That nice Maserati or that Ferrari or that Corvette you've been wanting to drive, it's sitting right in front of your face. You got the money for it, but just because people don't want to see you in it, because it creates too much a problem for everybody around you, they won't let you have it, right? It's too much. Like, man, you already got the Mercedes, you got the new Audi. I mean, you one car away from having everything, right? And then that's too much power for one person. So we need to separate this stuff so you don't have too much power. Think about it. You already said China controls almost everything that is manufactured in the United States. That's their thing. Now they're going to go get Taiwan semiconductors, which, like I said, 4 to 5 times the size of NVIDIA or AMD together. You put AMD and NVIDIA together, they would still need to grow 5 to 6 more times to even remotely even be close to TSM. China gets control of that. They have too much manufacturing power. You literally cannot get anything manufactured at all without going to China. And if you cut their money off, right? You cut their money off. Then they have this asset that you need to pay for, and you've cut their money off. Now what happens?
Oh.
The price of the brick just went up.
Oh my God. They take over the world.
Exactly.
They the new superpower.
Exactly. Now this oil that I have almost 70% control over, if Russia and Ukraine happens, I have 70% of the control of the oil. Now you gotta come see me for the oil. And you done took all my money? Oh yeah, I'm taxing. You here have to come see me and you have to pay the piper. And that's why everybody's like diverting assets to Ukraine right now, because you can't have let one person have too much power. Now, for the most part, United States is going to mind their business because Russia really, really don't want no smoke. If they do want smoke, like Putin's built up enough to last for a long time, but Russia invading Ukraine is the same thing like the United States invading Russia. They have no chance. They could hold us off for a few months, They have no chance of survival. And if it really wants to get ugly, all you have to do is just push one of them little buttons that they got control with the keys and the authorization and all of that. It could really be chitty, chitty, bang, bang. But like, on the grand scheme of things, we have to help them. That's where it's going. There's assets being allocated out there. They don't want to put troops on the ground because we don't, as the United States, want to declare war with anybody because we're the United States. Like I said, China's the second superpower. 23% of the world's trade right there. That's 1/5 in 2 countries, and that's not even the most mass. Like, it doesn't even account for the most of the population. So power is everything, and that's usually what war is, and it directly affects everybody. Because one way or another, something is either going to cost more or less at the end of it. And that's what it's always about.
Unfortunately.
So, yeah, it's all money. Like, this is the same thing that we said is never a clean thing. It's all over money. It's like, sorry, my 50 billion isn't enough. I need 120. Bro, you got people that's 2 months behind on the light bill. Like, what? Come on, man.
Right. It's like you already got one Ferrari, so why you need another?
Exactly,
one?
Which is why when it gets like that, when oil wars, I'll make me some money because I got plenty of time for y'all to go to war about stupid stuff. Like,
I like how you put that. Like, okay. Let's break it down for the people, for our people or urbaners. You might see somebody out in the street acting ignorant and being loud and doing whatever. Chances are you're going to ignore it, right? You're going to be like, nope, not my problem. If it gets bad, I'm going to call the police. But now,
right,
if we translate that into the stock market, you'd be like, oh, nope, not my business. Let me make a few dollars. All right, I'm gone. I'm a mind.
It's like the class act. But let me ask you a question. You remember that guy, YouTube Vine star that messed around a little too much and went too far? He used to run out of barbershops and not pay for his hair. Boom Gang. That was his name. Boom Gang, whole lot of gang stuff or whatever. And then he would just run up and just make these crazy videos, right? That got a whole lot of attention. Well, as the United States, what was he doing? Ooh, world star. And guess what? He made a whole lot of money off that foolishness. It almost cost him his life. He got his jaw broken like 3 different places playing with the wrong person. I think he got shot.
Yeah.
Passed out of the interview on a podcast in person because he was on the drugs just way too much. Like, attention is one of them things people are always going to try to make money off of. And I'm going to be one of them people doing it too because it's stupid. Like, life and death is different, but when it's greed and it's money and it's power and it's attention, you can have my money because somebody's going to get paid off of it. But like, when it's things that matter, like I said, life and death, civil rights, you're not going to catch me in. You're not going to catch me in that bucket. Greed, stupidity, that's where my moral levels lies. Like, hey, I'm gonna get that. I can't do the civil rights side of things, but the greed side of things and the stupidity and the clout chasing, I'm gonna put my money on it every time because somebody gotta get paid. Somebody gonna get paid on civil rights. That's just the game.
If it's a demand, it's a demand. Simple as that.
It's a demand.
Okay. Well, oh my God. We gotta do this again. I got so many more questions, but I kept you longer than I anticipated. But it's so enlightening, and my wheels is turning. Is really turning. Like, I'm ready to go into the market. I know what to look at. Okay. I forgot to ask you a question because we talked about we talked about technicals, but we didn't discuss, in closing, of course, we didn't discuss what fundamentals are and how do people check for fundamentals.
Okay. We did. It's such a natural conversation that you wouldn't expect.
Okay.
That it actually is, right? Fundamentals. Technicals is on the chart, the setup, technically speaking, right? It's this, that, or the other. It's, hey, it's been kind of high or it's kind of low. Technically speaking, on the chart, it says this, that, or the other. Fundamentally, the easy way for me to explain this, when you're jumping into fundamentals, you want to ask yourself the reason why. And if you ask yourself the reason why, and it's not based on a chart setup, then you're talking fundamentals, right? So if it's, hey, like I said, Ford's or Tesla's going to make this new car next year, that's fundamentals. It's a fundamental catalyst. War is a fundamental catalyst.
Okay.
Right? Earnings report, fundamental catalyst. Let's say a report comes out that Warren Buffett purchased 50,000 shares or something. That's about money moving into the actual asset. That's a fundamental catalyst. What their actual earnings per share, look under the hood. Do they actually make money? Anything else that's not a technical setup is a fundamental catalyst. And how do you look for it? I mean, start with what you know. Like I said, you should know Apple. Hopefully you know Tesla. You should know Google. You should know Amazon. You should know Netflix. If you don't know those, then I would say you need to do a little bit more research. But for the most part, most people can start there, right? Mm-hmm. Do they make money? Right? Look at the easy stuff. Put it like this. One of the easiest fundamental catalysts out there right now, AT&T. But you may not be thinking about it the way that we're thinking about it as far as AT&T. When I say AT&T, what do you think?
I'm thinking telecommunications.
Okay. All right. More specifically, give me something that AT&T does really well.
I would say providing Wi-Fi and cell phone services to the masses.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Exactly. So that's the first thing you think about with AT&T, right?
Yep.
Not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Like, there's different fundamental catalysts. HBO Max belongs to AT&T. So they started their new platform, which is AT&T TV, a couple months ago, sometime last year, something like that. HBO Max being one of the headlines of the AT&T service. But I don't know if you just read the headlines as most recently that actually cut their price down, right? And it's actually kind of weird that you cut your price down right before the new Game of Thrones comes out. This is the best TV to ever hit TV. We talk about Game of Thrones. We talk about people having national watch parties. Like, people on social media together when it comes on, talking about it live. Like, I ain't never seen TV like Game of Thrones. Like, Game of Thrones is like the Super Bowl of TV on a weekly basis. And you just cut the price back before the next season comes out. Those are things that get the wheels turning, like, some ain't white in that milk. Fundamental catalyst. See what I'm saying? So it's everything in a scope that's not a chart. If it's cash, if it's reports, if it's war, if it's money, anything under the sun that's not a chart is a fundamental catalyst.
And whoa, and boom.
Let me throw one more dime on top of that.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you why fundamentals are better than technicals. If you're buying on a long-term basis and you could just say, hey, I know Apple's not going out of business over the next 20 years and they'll probably make money. You would be right. 2, you can make an investment on that. 3, you only have to be right once. That's it. On technicals, you have to be right every single day, all the time. That's the crazy part. That's the other thing why it's like investing is better than trading. Investors only have to be right once. Traders have to be right all the time. Because as soon as you're wrong, you lose money. Can you be wrong and make money? Yes. Does it happen all the time? No. Absolutely not. But fundamentals, do you know that Google's going to be the data backbone of the country for some time to come? Yes, you do. That's a fundamental catalyst. The reason why you hopped into a trade, the reason why you bought the shares, that's fundamentals. Do that right once, and your life in this investing journey is going to be a whole lot better than the person next to you. So don't even worry about the screenshots or what anybody else is posting. Just play your game and run your race, and do it fundamentally.
Do your fundamentals.
Do your fundamentals. I mean, when I say, because think about it, when you're trying to succeed, everybody asks you your reason why, and I just told you. When you hop into trades, the fundamentals is your reason why. Why did you take the trade? So if you do it fundamentally, you're good.
All right. I like that. Elementary level.
Mm-hmm.
Broke it down. Man, well, I'm going to let you go, man. First, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Scott, for coming in and kicking back with us. Time for that selfless plug. How can people reach with you? How can people connect with you if they want to, join your Discord or have questions? Everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit of a Twitter guy myself. My profile tag is at the Sage of Trades. That's just what I go by lately. A lot of people like, just a little animated characters. They don't like Chris so much. They like the Sage though. They like when he's in Sage mode because that's what makes everybody money. So the Sage of Trades is what I go by on Twitter. As far as like my Discord and everything, I don't too much promote that because I feel like it's a very predatory space. I want people to come to me that actually vibe with it, that actually feel like they gain and resonate with that information. So I would say just follow me on Twitter first. If you want to go further from there and this investing, stock trading thing is really your trip, link up with me there, DM me there. We'll move forward from there because, I offer some stuff as a basic class. Like a lot of this information, a lot of people have it out there and it's not even affordable. I have a 1-hour class that's $35. I also have like a monthly mentorship thing that's like $150. I know some programs it's like you can't even get in without paying 10 racks.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to come to me at the level that they're on and just not be afraid. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, hit me up. If you're interested in diving into this thing a little further, let me know from there.
All right, cool. Thank you, good brother. And also like to thank you guys listening. This is the Entrepreneur Kickback with Mr. Christopher Scott, Sage the Trader. We out. Next time on the Entrepreneur Kickback.
Now, there's another website called Fair. You guys write this down, FAIRE.com, fair.com. And I learned about Fair from a couple of the stores out in Asheville, North Carolina. So these independent stores go to Fair and they find wholesale products at Fair.